While you must be authentic all the time and you must demand authenticity in your life. Now you have to understand that the environment is a feedback loop. The people in the environment, the external stimuli that exist within the environment is a feedback loop. And so when you behave abruptly, you will notice that the people in the environment will shift their behavior to prove or to react in a way that shows that you are behaving in a strange manner. When you are behaving abruptly and obnoxiously, or if you are misbehaving in public, people will react. The reaction is a mechanism for you to absorb feedback on your behavior. And so when you exist within an environment and you are acting in a certain way, people need to be authentic with the way you act so you can modify your behavior to act in a more better way for the betterment of yourself and everyone in that environment. And so what we need to understand is that most people exist in a constant state of a delusion. They sit there and they stare at people. They sit there and they exist within this space as a contaminant of mediocrity. They sit there and they gossip. They sit there and they stare at dick prints. They stare at ass. They sit there and, their behavior is reflecting the low qualities within themselves that they have not confronted. And so when you sit there, we must demand authenticity, and we must demand ourselves to be authentic all the time. You guys don't want to hurt someone's feelings, so you pretend like what the fuck you're perceiving them to be is not what the fuck they are. But what the fuck you're perceiving them to be is exactly what the fuck they are. So when you see a submissive, weak piece of shit who can't get shit done, a lazy fat bitch, when you see someone who is suffering in their inadequacy and you allow them to ruminate the space, you know this person, you have a relationship with this person, and you allow them to suffer in their inadequacy and then falsify it and pretend like it doesn't exist, to sit there and allow them to suffer in their inadequacy. When you see someone's a bitch, when you see someone's a straight pussy, and you don't confront that individual, you don't say, hey, I think you are lazy as fuck. I think we should be doing more with our lives, and I think you can be a better person for yourself and everyone around you. I think you can be a better individual. I think you can be someone people will look up to and inspire through the way you behave and conduct yourself. When we see someone who conducts themselves like a low-level piece of shit, when your friend jerks off every fucking night, when your friend, all he does is talk about bitches, when your friend is a low-level piece of shit and you neglect the responsibility to be authentic and to let him know how low-level he is and the lower qualities that emanate from his psyche into the external world, if you are not that feedback mechanism in his environment, he will perpetuate that behavior on an endless fucking cycle, and he will die that low-level bitch. And so what we need to do is we need to actually confront mediocrity with true authenticity, and we need to shed light on the fucking shadows, because you are a shadow permeating the space in the universe, and now we have to deal with your darkness. And so when you sit there and you stare at ass, when you sit there and you stare at dick prints, when you sit there and you visibly make someone uncomfortable simply by existing, we have to understand that your existence is now a problem, and you subconsciously know that, and therefore you either continue to perpetuate that behavior on purpose with this weird ass smile and this demonic ass look on your face, or you confront that pussy who you hate being. Most of you guys hate the low qualities within yourself, and you do nothing to change. So you hate being fat, but then you stay fat. You hate being addicted. You know you want to quit, but then you perpetuate it on a cycle to make sure that you passively kill yourself and drown yourself more and more into the cycle of being a low-level piece of shit, lowering your bandwidth every day as you continue to exist in a state of constant mediocrity, as you unfold your life into being a floundering fucking fish, bitch, pussy, who never actually confronts the mediocrity within themselves. And so what you need to do is understand that the lower qualities within your psyche is going to emanate into existence. And so when you emanate the lower qualities, you need to find out why you are emanating this lower quality. You need to confront it. Now, the problem about your level of consciousness is that you are not conscious to the fact that you are emanating a lower quality. And so when you sit there and you pretend to be something you're not, when you sit there and pretend to be like you're not addicted to porn, when you sit there and you pretend to not be passively killing yourself with the vape and passively poisoning yourself with the alcohol, when you sit there and pretend like you're not depleted and disconnected from yourself and source, well, it's a duty for the people in the environment to be a feedback mechanism for you to recognize within yourself the flaws and then do some shit to fix some shit, or you will die that low-level piece of shit. And there's been countless lives that rather sit there and stagnate in these lower qualities than truly confront themselves, because they're too ignorant to look in the mirror and say, what the fuck even is that? Why the fuck am I being this shit? I hate this shit. And then turn that hate into anger to dissipate and decimate those lower qualities within themselves. Most of you guys are insecure, and then you project that insecurity as hate onto other people. But what you need to do is project that hate onto yourselves, on the qualities that you hate, to decimate those lower qualities. Aggression is a powerful force. If you channel aggression into the right things, you'll be surprised on the outcomes that you can, create. When you channel aggression into your goals, don't be surprised when you move through space and time like a formidable fucking primordial god moving through life, conquering whatever the fuck he needs to get done in life. You have to understand that people have goals, and the moment you channel aggression into that goal, when the moment you channel all the pain and all the hate that you have for yourself onto the goal, you will see that the pain and the hate will dissipate, because you are actually using it as a source of elevation. And when you elevate to a certain point, you no longer have that hate and pain in your soul, and it now has to be generated from the external stimuli. So the best thing to not be is someone's fucking motivation to be better. You have to understand that the best motivation is the individual right next to you. You've been suffering for how long in your inadequacy? How long have you been stagnating in those lower qualities? You have no goals? Fuck, dude. You are now the motivation for me to be better, to perpetuate the development of my life on an infinite fucking cycle until I hit the fucking casket. Your existence is the reason why my existence is going to be better. If you guys are not bettering yourself through space and time, if you don't have a huge gap from who you are and who you are becoming and who you were, well, you have to understand that there's something very bad and something very wrong with your mind, especially if you're stagnating and decreasing through time. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not growing, if you're not evolving, you are devolving. There is no fine line of neutrality in between space where you can dwell at and stagnate. No. This is the universe, and we are in a constant state of evolution and expansion. If you are not expanding, you are definitely decreasing and subtracting. And so what you need to do is confront that individual in the mirror and realize what qualities are allowing you to subtract. If you're addicted to porn, well, you are subtracting and stagnating. If you are addicted to the vape, to the cigarette, to the weed, well, you are definitely subtracting, because you are not compounding into anything more. You have to understand that your daily habits compound the internal qualities that are reflected within that habit. And so when you compound yourself backwards because of these lower qualities, well, you're going to be stifling and existing in a perpetuated state of insecurity. You're going to be constantly stifling and choking on life. You are going to be living in a negative state of consciousness. You are going to be existing in a reality you don't want to exist in. And most of you guys don't seem to fathom or comprehend the velocity and the weight of understanding that you only live once. Time is decreasing, and the moment you just lost a moment ago, you'll never get back. And so what you need to realize is that you will die a bitch if you don't confront the lower qualities that is keeping you a bitch. And so this is where we have to understand that your conduit reflects your character, not the validation you extract from the fake ass bitches around you. You have to understand that this is why we must be authentic. This is why we have to align with the best version of ourselves. It's because when you stagnate in lower qualities, you will conform to people with the same lower qualities for them to validate you, because internally you know you're inadequate. And so we have to understand that the people you are around are on the same level as you. And if you were around higher level people, you would instantly realize the big gap between who you are and who they are. And it will be a repulsion. You will be repulsed away from them, because now they are revealing everything that you shove in the back of your mind and pretend that doesn't exist. You now have to be exposed, and you have to sit there psychologically naked, and you have to sit there and reflect on how inadequate you are as an individual compared to the individual right next to you. And instead of using that person as a reference state, you rather sit there in your low degen state of consciousness, your mediocrity. You rather sit there and you rather stagnate in that and pretend like the person who's definitely better than you is not better than you. And you rather sit there and project the internal inadequacies reflected within your soul onto them. And so what we have to understand is that when we see someone at a higher level of understanding, when we see someone on a higher level, whatever level that is, we now have to truly understand that this person is not an enemy to your ego, but it is a friend to your soul, and he's going to pull you up if you get out of that ego that is keeping you perpetuated in a cynical cycle of being a low-level garbage of a human being. Human being, more like a grayscale piece of shit bitch. And so the best thing to do is look in the mirror and truly reflect on who you're becoming. Because what you put your time and energy into is going to reflect who the fuck you become. And what you think of, your accumulation of thought, the thoughts you charge, is going to reflect who you're becoming. And when you sit there in those porn addicted ass thoughts, when you sit there in this distraction of a reality to distract yourself from who you really are, to sit there and distract yourself with the validation, the fake ass attention from the fake ass people around you, when you sit there and distract yourself from who the fuck you really are, you will see that when you are by yourself, you don't even want to be by yourself. Always a distraction you seek out. It's because you don't want to fucking be yourself, you dumb fuck. And you're experiencing that at a repressed level. Repression, depression, you have to uproot that quality of being, that low quality of being. You have to uproot that, and you have to reflect on who the fuck you're becoming. And the best way to reflect is to look around you, see the qualities of people and how they reflect that through their behavior and their conduit, and then reflect on yourself if that's what the fuck you want to be. When I look left and I look right and I see this, dude, the mediocrity of his soul, the low qualities emanating onto his face. His face has no light. He's a dead soul. His eyes is ruminating this space with death. The shadow that he is manifesting through the wrinkles on his face. When we see an individual like that, it motivates me, and you are now the motivation of my existence to perpetuate myself to being the healthiest version possible, to never be fat, to never be something I don't want to be. You guys are existing in states you don't want to be, and you don't comprehend the velocity that you will die that bitch if you don't do shit to fix it. And the worst thing about it is that you only live once, and you don't understand how rare it is to actually be existing in a universe. I mean, you never questioned, you never thought that what the fuck even is this shit, and what the fuck am I doing with my life? Why the fuck can he have that, but I have to deal with this? And then you realize that you are in a box of self-limitation, and then you realize that you have singled yourself out. You have made yourself special. The person who has is not special. You are the special one for not having. And so what you need to understand is that you have put yourself in a box of mediocrity, and you are chained to it through the lower qualities that you refuse to confront within yourself, and you will die that garbage of a bitch, and we will forget about you 2 weeks after you die because you provided no value, you provided nothing, you brought forth nothing from the gems within your soul that you can unfold through the things you can say to change people's mind. You didn't do any of that. You sat there and you stagnated in these lower qualities, and then sought to distract yourself through the bottle, through the vape, through the porn, and through whatever the fuck you do to distract yourself from who the fuck that pussy is in the mirror. And so remember that you only live once. Your existence, your quality of existence, your quality of life that you experience on a daily is a reflection of you. And the way you feel when you are by yourself, which is disconnected from the source, you have to understand that you are rooted in disconnection from yourself, and this is why you seek to distract yourself. And so what you need to do is put yourself in environments that reflect and expose you, so you can now uproot what is keeping you at that state, and you can now see for yourself what the fuck is keeping you there, and actually do some shit to fix some shit, instead of die a flounder fucking bitch and stagnating, going nowhere, no goals, no soul, no character, just a fucking pussy of a inauthentic garbage of a soul. You have to understand that your existence has a quality marker on it, and the value that you deliver to others and the way you serve is going to directly reflect in your quality of a being. So your existential marker is going to be backed up to what you can deliver to others, the value you can deliver to others. And so what we deliver is truth. And so what you need to understand is the truth will set you free. You exist in a state of lies, cadences, and delusion, and so you will never be free. You will be haunted by the mediocrity of your soul, and you will be there wondering why you feel like shit. But the truth is, it's within the lower qualities you refuse to confront. Because deep down, your conscience literally knows this is not what the fuck you should be doing.